to understand Rudi Verba, you have to understand where he was buried and why he was buried there. And I became very intimate with Rudi during the last few years of his life. I'm a physician, but I was not his physician. Because of Rudi's mistrust of councils and establishment, he also had a mistrust of the medical profession. It's not a secret because on his website it indicates that he did die of a cancer. And although that is not my field, I accompanied him to his medical visits on a couple of occasions in order to not only be his advocate and make sure the doctors gave him an extra few minutes, but also to instill his confidence in the recommended treatment. But the theme and the continuous thread with Rudi is this mistrust of authority. And that is why he did not want to be buried in a Jewish cemetery. I recall Rob Krell and I spending several days at Rudi's bedside with his wife Robin, discussing burial plans. And Rob had made arrangements for Rudi to have a special grave near the Holocaust site at the Shaare Zedek Cemetery. And there was a lot of conflict going on how Rudi would exit. At one time, even cremation was brought up by a non-Jewish Christian academic. And we said to him, Rudi, millions of your colleagues died by cremation. You can't go that way. And he was kind of going back and forth. And I think Robin had a lot of influence, at least for him to have a conventional burial. And I found it interesting that when you did the program at the book launch, you and Yosef were viewed at the grave. And I discussed it with one of my friends who was watching it online, and he thought it was at the Beth Israel Cemetery. But I think it has to really be told that he didn't want to be buried in a Jewish cemetery. Yes. So there still is an attempt to move his body, and I approached Robin the last time we had a Verba lecture here, and I think the lecturer was Professor Grabowski from the University of Ottawa, who spoke about the Polish complicity in the Holocaust. And Robin said, no, we're not ready. For several years, on April 7th, Rob Krell, Robbie Weissman, and Jeff Drucker and I would go to Kaplan's and have a nice lunch, and then we go to Tawasin and say Kaddish at his graveside. We haven't done that for several years. It's interesting, at the original burial, there was no Jewish clergy, but of all things, Ruthie Lynn's eldest son, Yair, who was quite secular or a-religious, said Kaddish for Rudi as he was buried.